do that.
I am a sentient.
That's why I bought a house.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, it's been a fun break. I had a lot of fun. Got a girlfriend while we were gone for 6 weeks. That's been pretty awesome. She's pretty cool. She's my cougar. That's what I call her because she's 5 years older.
Wow.
That's fair. I mean,
she's like a foot away from me, so she hears me.
I was like, as he's looking over his shoulder to check and make sure he's actually safe.
I'm just kind of like waiting for his head to like rocket the other way.
I'll
That's
be
internet
fair.
connection issues.
Iron frying pan.
I mean, we've already got a toothbrush in my house, so I mean, we're already like there. But I've checked all the drawers. She hasn't started a drawer anywhere, so I'm in that regard.
Just countertop space.
I took that as you didn't have one, so she brought one for you. Is that what's going on here?
Well, when he said a toothbrush, then I'm like, wait, gross. Are you sharing one? Because
that's love, okay? That's real love. When you share a toothbrush.
I have been married for 9 years, and no.
Yeah, hey, I mean, like, I'm not saying that you're not in a good situation, but like you're just not in that good of a situation. You know, it's like they have a bond over this toothbrush that you may never have with your husband.
Here's the thing. At a certain
like my tongue will touch your teeth. Don't mess with my toothbrush.
Well, next week, Wednesday, I think, is 26 years for my wife and I.
Proud of you.
And 26 years, 3 kids. At a certain point, you've traded enough saliva that a toothbrush isn't the make or break point of your relationship.
But still super
Not
gross.
saying, I'm just saying.
Okay. Now what is the closer relationship? Now, sharing a toothbrush or using the bathroom when each other are in the bathroom?
Yes.
See, that doesn't bother me.
Imagine toothbrushes, you're actually exchanging fluids.
To steal a line, I think it was from Jeff Foxworthy. It's definitely when they're sitting on the toilet because ladies, you are always sitting, so we don't know what you're doing, and we just kind of walk into the fog.
We like
so.
Right?
It becomes not a secret very quickly when you're like, "Hey, how's it go?" Oh my god!
You know what? That is one of those moments.
I mean, at that point, it's all relative. Just because it's like it's the bathroom and there's particles in there that'll never leave, so you're sharing it all.
My husband has no sense of smell, so I don't even care. Like,
that's where the no sense of smell comes in real handy.
Well, that is a
I know my wife
version of freedom.
wishes she had no sense of smell a lot of the time.
Well, John's not here to defend himself, so I will just say that's what he gets for cooking meth.
Ammonia and bleach, but
close enough.
Bodily functions, schmoddily functions.
After you have a kid, it doesn't matter anymore anyway.
We're back, guys.
You're dealing with a little person's bodily functions too. So
hey now,
what's up, Daniel?
John, speaking of bodies, do we have a Manscaped plug we gotta do?
No, we're done with that for now.
Oh, really? Already?
I gotta build them though. I gotta build them, and then they're gonna get back with us the whole thing. But yes, we're done for now. I mean, we could talk about
darn it
if we want to.
I used my Manscaper the other day. Clean this up.
Makes sense.
I use mine on too, my head. But
it's good stuff.
I watched 5 minutes of this George Carlin AI thing because 5 minutes was a cutoff point before monetization really sets in for them. So because I knew nobody else was going to, and I don't blame you. Like Mike's like, I'm like, dude, I don't want you to watch this. Like, it's bad enough I'm going to watch 5 minutes just so one of us has some context to talk about it. So
thank you for taking one for the team.
No, I mean, I feel like this is the one occasion where let's just do the internet nerd thing and no, I didn't watch it, but I hate it.
I mean, there's plenty of articles written about it anyways, too.
I actually agree with Max on this one, which scares the crap out of me.
Yeah,
Tim and Max are agreeing on something.
We're 20 days into 2024, and Tim and I agree on something.
I thought we already fixed it.
Batten down the
hatches. I'm going to
hatches.
break this into sections because there's things in the intro to this video that they bring up that I want to discuss. Okay, so everything I bring up, it may sound like I agree with it. I don't agree with any of this. Just put it on the record going forward. But I watched the first 5 minutes. Sure, it sounded like George Carlin. Sure, the bits could have been written by him. Like, I believe these are the jokes that he might have told now. But when you sit down and you listen to it, there is something missing, and it's human element. Like, you can't, like, the jokes come across as a lot more rude maybe than George Carlin would have done had he been here, perfect it and put it out there. And it's wrong, especially since they're billing it like the AI at the beginning of the video. It says this is just the same as doing an impression, but it's not, because you are marketing it as a George Carlin stand-up special in 2024. You're not saying, you know, hey, I'm doing an impression, which the AI isn't even technically doing an impression. It's doing the guy. Like, it's trying to do the guy and trying to quote unquote be the guy. And I know George Carlin's daughter is looking at suing them. I guess this is done by Will Sasso. I can't remember the other guy's name, but they also did a Tom Brady one last year. What would happen if Tom Brady did stand up and Tom Brady sued? They pulled it down. Now George Carlin's daughter says that she's going to reach out to Tom Brady, find out what their strategy was, because she plans on doing the same thing. Like, she's like, sure, the topic my dad would have talked about, but it's not my dad. Like, you guys are selling this that it's my father, and it's not my father. It's this AI thing, and it just it seems it's wrong. It's wrong. Like,
and also like it's kind of upsetting to me that Will Sasso fronts this because like, dude, you're a comedian, so what you're saying is you're not good enough to write your own stuff and be funny out there. You're gonna AI somebody else and put that out as something like
to be fair,
to
be fair to Will Sasso, but he's had a whole AI podcast for a long time. This isn't like a new space for him. They basically use Dudsy as their like AI third co-host.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too, is that this wasn't to promote Carlin. This is to promote their brand, essentially, which is even.
I don't agree with it.
I'd never heard.
A lot,
I had never heard about this Dudsy thing until this, and then I was like, well, that's why. It's like they're just exploiting, you know, the sensibilities and likeness of Carlin to promote their brand. And again, that kind of retroactively makes me disappointed in Will Sasso.
Daniel Snow, the AI would absolutely follow the rules of the road.
Yeah.
I want to bring up. We'll get into this. I want to get into this whole impression thing, but first, I want to say, like, if in the instance of like James Earl Jones, where he signed papers so that his family will get paid retroactively,
that's different.
Say for Darth Vader, I'm okay with that. Different. If George Carlin had signed rights that, hey, you can use my likeness and AI going forward to do shitty stand-up specials, and 100%, you know, I'm not going to watch it, but at least George Carlin signed off on it, and his kids are getting paid. But
the difference that's there is that James Earl Jones, of good, solid mind and spirit, signed away his rights so that his family could be taken care of. Yeah. It's completely different when somebody comes in on the back door and goes, "Oh, this is an impression. We're not biting this guy's jokes. We're totally biting this guy's jokes. We're biting his style. We're doing everything, and we're doing it so that we can make a buck." So that's.
And I feel like George Carlin would hate this. Like, I don't know George Carlin well, but I feel like he would absolutely hate this.
Oh yeah, this is like the antithesis. This is the antithesis of his entire body of work, especially in his later years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't use the big word that Mike just used because I don't know what it means, but I'm pretty sure I agree with him.
Oh, look at that public.
It's just lazy. It's just lazy. And I like, this is coming from a fat, lazy nerd. Like that's lazy. Okay, like, it takes one to know one, and you are knocking it out of the park with the laziness. Like fuck you, Will Sasso. Like, you suck, dude.
It's a little much.
Suck.
It's a little much.
Yep. And also, again, I'm gonna come back to this a lot because this was more and more apparent the more I was reading about it. Is the idea that you could tout like, oh, this is kind of an homage to Carlin and his comedy and things like that. But the truth of the matter is, this is very much a self-involved, I want to promote my brand. Let's get this dudesy, whatever it's called, out there. Hey, here's something that'll grab all of the media headlines. Whether it paints us in a good or bad light, people will have eyeballs drawn to our product now. It reminded me of that a couple of years ago, that one dude did like a Robin Williams... like a clip of a Robin Williams film, like a dramatic.
Yeah.
And I thought that was equally as great. It wasn't AI generated, and I'll give him his kudos. He's a very talented impressionist with regards to, you know, encapsulating Robin Williams' likeness and performance. but it was gross, and the only reason it existed, like, it wasn't an actual project in the works. It was him pitching himself for a Robin Williams biopic that doesn't exist. Right. And like even Robin Williams' daughter was like, "Yeah, that was uncomfortable."
Yeah, when you upset Zelda, we have problems.
I mean, again, but like at least that was that guy trying a thing. Like this is just like, hey,
it's just.
We let the computer watch 7 hours of Carlin,
right,
and then it shot out this.
It's like, just way easier now because at least that took effort. Like he had to stage it and get into performance mode and makeup and costuming and things like that.
And the difference is the guy that did the Robin Williams thing, if I'm not mistaken, actually came back later and said, "Yeah, this was in bad taste," and took it down.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that guy. I haven't seen the Robin Williams video, but I'm a fan of his in general.
I think too with the Robin Williams video, if the subject matter he had chosen to do as the trailer was different, it wouldn't have been so bad.
It was like him finding out Belushi died, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough taste.
It was only like 2 or 3 years after Robin died, even.
Oh wow!
Or if you wanted to do it, I think I would have been more comfortable had he chosen some of Robin Williams' stand-up.
Right.
To do it instead of an emotional moment that was supposed to be an emotional moment in Robin's life. And yes, if he's going to do the biopic, I understand why he wanted to do that.
Right.
To show that he had range. But like Kathleen said, we were still kind of on the heels of Robin Williams' death by a couple years. And it was just too close and, too uncomfortable and too much of not enough of something. I don't know.
If he had done the research into Belushi's death and realized that Robin was with him the night before, that Robin blamed himself for Belushi's death for a long time. Mm-hmm. There were so many aspects of that were so wrong.
I mean, and aside from that too, it's just at least that took some organic talent. Here it's like anybody can do, anyone can make a George Carlin stand-up special in this day and age. Doesn't mean you should.
No, it's also the main fact is like he made a short thing to show himself off as like, hey, I can do this. He did not receive money for it. He did not intend to receive money for it.
Yeah, that was a big thing too. At least it was like.
Yeah, so those guys suck. That's awful. The Carlin thing should be removed as quickly as possible. It's in bad taste. It's in poor humor. It's not written well, and it's not George Carlin. So I don't understand why it exists. I don't understand why these guys are trying to make money off of it. I mean, I guess I understand that, but they're fat, lazy assholes, and they suck.
You know what makes me so mad about this whole thing is I'm watching the special and I'm like, man, fuck. I'd like to hear I'd like to hear George Carlin actually talk about this. Like, I would like to hear his take on these, and I don't get to hear that. And now this AI is just reminding me that I don't have George Carlin in my life anymore because I'm watching this less than stellar impression of a man. Sure, they got some of the cadences down. Sure, they got the voice down. The jokes are hollow. They fall flat. It's all in bad taste. And yeah, the whole time I'm watching, my girlfriend's next to me. I'm like, 5 minutes, stop. And then she looked at me like, why right at 5? And I'm like, because they get monetization, I think, at 6 minutes.
Yeah, they'll get money off of it.
We're safe.
I'm waiting to see how Will Sasso's going to try and back this train up.
Well, he did it last year with Tom Brady, and he got back. But it didn't stop him. New. He went more controversial and picked a guy who passed away.
It's genuinely soured me on Will Sasso, which sucks because I really liked his Lemon Vines back in 2013.
Yeah.
I thought I've always thought he was a genuinely talent, like one of the genuine talents to come out of Mad TV. But now I'm just like, man,
nope.
That really soured me on him.
0. You get nothing from me, Will Sasso.
I love when FSF fights for themselves in their chat.
It's no different than the voices in our head. We're just sharing them with others.
Just clickety clacking.
But yeah, it just reminded me how
go magic fingers, go
super thumbs.
Don't get me wrong, I believe, AI is gonna royally screw us over in the foreseeable future. There are some interesting things that are being done. Remember there was that it was being streamed for a long time that AI bot that was just constantly generating a Seinfeld episode, but it wasn't like Seinfeld like it was like Roblox people or whatever, and the voices were clearly just half-ass generated and stuff, but they were like approximating like what a Seinfeld episode was.
Yeah.
Right.
And eventually like all things AI, it eventually turned racist, but I mean, but it was a curiosity. It was like a good experiment, but
I fell for an AI.
There it is. There's the racism.
The internet turning racist? Never.
So I was on YouTube like I usually am, and it recommended an unreleased Tupac song. It didn't say AI in the title. So I'm listening to it, and I'm getting into it a little bit because it does sound like Tupac. And then suddenly I start hearing Obama references, and I'm like, wait a second. I click on the description of the video.
What's the realest shit I ever wrote in 94?
Yeah, right. I'm like, man, like this AI, it tricked me. Like I'm a legit fan. I thought I was listening to something new that hadn't been released yet. This AI thing, man, I'm just not a fan. Like, and the impression argument, it doesn't work for me because of course a computer can duplicate somebody's voice. Like that's scary going into politics now. Like if you start thinking of what this will lead to in the political world, like people can release you saying anything now, and you don't know if it's real or fake.
The facial expressions and everything is really
the only person who doesn't have to worry about this is Donald Trump because he's already said every wild thing that there is to say. So like the AI can't hurt him. That's it. The only one.
No. He has never said "I love everybody."
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be like Donald Trump saying nice things and everything.
Yeah, that'll be the outlier.
Everybody. Oh my God, it's AI.
Oh my God, here's a clip of him making a reasonable statement. Fact check that.
He was in the DuckTales reboot. He did one of the voices, Daniel. But yeah, the Three Stooges, Curly.
Last time I cared about anything Will Sasso did was when he had a guest spot on How I Met Your Mother. He played the bartender who went crazy.
The last time I cared about Will Sasso was 5 minutes ago when I wanted him to go away forever.
I mean, there on the flip side of it, on the non-entertainment side of it, there are some incredible things that they can do with AI that are actually incredibly helpful. But like everything, there's the good and the bad, and there's the people who are going to use it wrong. But like
it's like any other technology. It depends on the person who's behind the keyboard.
But like I just found out that the cancer center near us is using AI technology to compare mammograms. Because the computer can see things that the human eye can't, and it can look at the different tissues and be like, oh, that's a problem, and flag that as being an issue.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, like I mean, obviously, like yes, use your computers to friggin' help people, but like don't use your computer to rip off someone's material and make money off of it. Like that's just
well, even
use it to save the boobs, not to be a boob. There's a difference.
Yes,
and that's why she's my co-host, ladies and gentlemen. Right there.
Save the boob, don't be one. Kathleen, I can't wait to quote you later.
There was
put that on a shirt. Save a boob, don't be one.
It's all cyclical because like a couple or even like early last year I was reading an article about how one of the front runners of developing like more advanced AI was like, I regret all my work than the way it's going. Like 50 years from now, this is going to be the next Oppenheimer biopic.
Yeah.
Like,
instead of the bomb going off, it's just this Tupac song.
It's Tupac song, George Carlin stand-up special.
But it's Tupac and George Carlin at the same time.
Yeah.
Collaborating.
And a deep fake of Robin Williams. It's going to be horrible.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
So, like when the Beatles used the AI technology to clean up some of Lennon's vocals, that's how you use it in entertainment. Like,
yeah, it's still him. It's just Chris.
But again, that had the permission of the people that were behind it, his family and everybody else. So again, I'm okay with that because it's being used in the proper way.
And in all reality,
I'm really worried about video games moving forward because of what we're seeing with the AI announcements and how video game companies are going to, make AI copies and duplicates of people's voices. And
I saw the Indiana Jones trailer. Harrison Ford likeness. I'm not too worried.
But unfortunately, AI is like so many other things, and there are medications even that are beautiful, wonderful things that save people's lives, and then people OD from them. Like it's use it responsibly, be smart about it, and it would be okay.
Save a boob, don't be one.
Exactly.
God,
Boobs are important, guys.
Come on, human race. Be sensible.
I have to deal with the fact that I'm an untalented fat asshole all the time. Like, I got to deal with that every day. Will Sasso, you need to just deal with that and not try to rip off people's stuff. Like that. Like, it's just it's just not right. It's just not right. Like that's it. And again, like, to use AI to aid your process in medicine, in whatever, like in business, that's totally fine. That's actually what it's for. To try to eliminate the human factor so you don't have to pay people. That is not what it's for.
Yeah.
Like, right. Again, if Carlin's family had been behind this, if his daughter had been behind this, and I may not have liked it, but at least I would have been like, okay, his family's behind this. They're supporting this. They want to hear. She wants to hear her dad tell jokes one more time. I could wrap my head around that. I may not appreciate it or enjoy it, but I could at least wrap my head around it. Mm-hmm. This just feels to me like a complete cash grab and a rip. That's what it feels like to me.
But I mean, yeah, like you're saying, like I don't. Jason listened to 5 minutes of it. He's like, man, these jokes aren't hitting. This is not Carlin. Like, you're not going to be able to do the thing that you're even intending to do, and then it's just going to be a poor facsimile of that. So there's no point in doing it.
Well, I mean, that's doing it. I mean, if you read, so I'm just spending like 10 minutes reading through the comments of that video, and a lot of people liked it. So I don't know, like, I think it depends on your bias towards the medium and towards AI and towards like what's your perception of like if this is ripping off George or if it's not, right?
Sure.
Because people did enjoy it. Like, I'm going through it, and there's a lot of people saying it was a good impression of George Carlin.
A lot of people also lack critical thinking, so.
Jason, but if you're going to insult everybody that liked it, that seems like an analogous poor choice of like, you know what I mean? Like, just because you hate a thing so much, and I'm in the same camp as you, right? But like, just because you hate it doesn't mean somebody else doesn't love it, which will push that medium forward, right? Like,
I just hope
there's going to be success there, whether you like it or not. For that,
if there's people that are digging it, I'm not going to hate on you, but I just hope it pushes you to some of George's other stuff, like his actual stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. But let's get to a more positive topic. I got 2 television shows to recommend.
One quick question before we move forward, because was this done like a hologram? Because I did not watch it. I'm just crapping on this because I hate the idea of it.
No, it's
audio, I think.
Random digital art associated with it.
That audio.
Okay, so not in front of an audience. So any laughter you're hearing is canned box laughter. It's a laugh track. Okay, that's all I need to know. That tells me it's complete crap. Okay, we can move along now.
Laugh track that was recorded in the 50s, and all of those people are dead now.
But So first recommendation, the TED television show, the #1 thing streamed on Peacock ever. It's fantastic if you're into the TED series. Like, it is so freaking funny. It's a little long, the first episode. I've only watched the first episode. It feels a little long, but the jokes land. It's funny. Like, if you've ever wanted to watch TED without Mark Wahlberg, this is it, guys. This is your show. Like, it is so funny. And in the marketing for TED, Seth MacFarlane also dropped that he's hard at work on Orville season 4.
Yes!
So this, the fact that TED is doing so well will help propel the Orville forward as well. So I'm excited. And then The Bear on Hulu is one of the best shows I've watched.
It's incredible. I really love The Bear.
Very, very good. Did you watch both seasons, Justin?
I sure did. It was really good. I binge watched that thing. I knocked that out in a weekend.
Compliment for an award show. The first time in a long time, I feel like an award show got it right. Everybody that won at the Emmys deserved it. I'm so glad Kieran Culkin won. Like, his acceptance speech was funny. I hope he does all of the acceptance speeches for everybody. But Beef, the television show, won, which is a really, really good limited series on Netflix. White Lotus won a lot of stuff. Succession obviously won a lot of stuff. And
Lotus was a good show.
Won. Everything The Bear was nominated for, it won, I think.
I have actually not started watching The Bear yet, but I did watch White Lotus. Really, really enjoyed that. It was better than I anticipated it being.
Both seasons?
I just started. I didn't realize there was a second season until just recently.
I'm not a fan of Jennifer Coolidge either, and I liked her in this. Like, I don't like her at all. I think she's obnoxious.
She's obnoxious and plays the same character in every movie.
But in this, she's fantastic. It works in this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I agree, Jay. I agree. I'm agreeing with Jason and Max tonight. I need to drink heavier.
So we are doing our top 5
Cheers.
things that we watched last year. You guys can interpret this however you wanted to. I'm surprised I only got one movie on this list, and it is my number 5. So I'll go ahead and kick us out. And this surprised me. This is the only movie on my list. I think it's because it's the only movie I watched more than once. Well, I watched Scream more than once, but I didn't put it on here. But Dungeons and Dragons is my favorite movie of the year. Number 5. I loved it.
Okay, now I have a particular hatred for like the Dungeons and Dragons movies that has nothing to do with the actual movie. It has to do with Hasbro, who I can't stand and who is actively ruining Wizards of the Coast. But like I didn't want to like this movie. I really wanted this movie to fail. I did not want to like it, but it is very good, and I enjoyed it a lot, which made me mad. But then the movie failed anyway, so I felt fine.
I think it's on my list, man. One, I was shocked that I liked it so much. I've watched it, I think, maybe 3 times, and I've gone back to it a few times, and it's fantastic. I hope it gets a sequel. I mean, I hate the fact, again, I'm not a fan of what Hasbro is doing either, but they made a good movie, and I want to see another one like that. Yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't sell Wizards of the Coast, but I'm down for that movie.
How many times is Cocaine Bear on your list? Is it all 5?
Cocaine Bear is on my list 1 time. It's not what I'm going to talk about right now. My number 5 goes to Barbie. There was a movie that I did not think I was going to enjoy. I didn't know what it was walking into it, and I'm so happy that I did. Like it was a solid flick. I liked everyone's performance. I am Knuff, and that's it. Barbie is my number 5.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I actually really liked that movie too.
I need to see it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen Mutant Mayhem. I haven't seen Oppenheimer. Like, please.
Mutant Mayhem is good too.
Justin, what's your 5?
My number 5, I really enjoyed on Prime Reacher. I watched a ton of Reacher this past year. I love
good.
Reacher.
Oh my god, I just finished it.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised.
I need to watch it. I haven't started it yet.
It's so good.
Oh yeah, I really liked it. The guy from Blue Mountain State is playing Reacher, and I always see Thad Castle every time I see him still, which is fun.
Thad.
I need to watch that show. I saw a clip of it the other day, and I was laughing so hard. I need to check it out. But yeah, I like him in that role. Like I saw the Tom Cruise movie before I watched the show, like back to back, and I'm like, yeah, this is different. This is very, very, very different than that movie I watched.
Tom Cruise sucks.
I've heard the show's way more accurate to the Lee Child stuff.
I think so too. I mean, at least his body type is Jack Reacher. It's not Tom Cruise, where Tom Cruise is a small man. This dude's massive. He is a big human.
Well, the dude that plays him, Alan Rickton, he's also in the TV show Titans. He plays. I think it was the Owl. He plays, but yeah,
Hawk. I think
Hawk. Thank you, Hawk. And that dude, that is one mammoth, massive dude.
Mm-hmm. He was Smallville's Aquaman, and also speaking of Ninja Turtles, he played Raphael in the Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtles.
Nice. He's
the only good Ninja Turtle in those movies. So
there is a huge push for him to play Bruce Wayne online. I think James Gunn has had to address it. Like, guys, I will cast the movies. Like, calm down. But yeah, there's people that want him to play Bruce Wayne in the James Gunn universe.
Oh wow.
I think he's too big for Bruce Wayne, right? Like, Bruce Wayne's not supposed to be like.
No, he's exactly the size of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne's supposed to be a
That's how he's supposed to look.
Yeah, he is a brick.
We've gotten short Bruce Waynes for so long.
Yeah, like there's no movie Bruce Wayne that has accurately depicted the Bruce Wayne of the comic books.
I'd say Ben Affleck CrossFit Bro got there. Kind of.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Ben Affleck could. Yeah.
Affleck did pretty good.
All right, Tim, what's your 5? Tim's full 5 is Star Wars, right?
Well, originally it was going to be all Star Wars, but I decided it shouldn't be.
Whoa. Look at you.
Actually, my 5 was also the D&D movie.
Was also what?
My 5 was also the D&D movie. I absolutely loved that movie. I thought it was fantastic. I went into it with very low expectations, and I am glad to say it jumped that hurdle within about the first 30 seconds, and it just carried on. The humor in that movie is so on point. And it has just enough action with just enough humor, and it's just a really well told story.
Long.
No, and it's one of those things where you get done with it because it's not such a long movie. It finishes at just the right point where you want more.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you look forward to a possibility of a sequel, not where you get done with the movie and you're like, man, I hope they don't do another one of these. This was too much.
Like a session of D&D should. You should be looking forward to the next one, not being super worn out.
If it was true to a session of D&D, you'd be like, oh my god. You got out of it, you're just like, I cannot believe that was 6 hours.
Yeah. I believe my eyes, it's 8 hours.
Well, yes, it's 8 hours for us. It's an hour and a half for them.
Every session of D&D I've ever played, at the end of it, I'm just like, I'm never playing this game again.
8 hours later.
What did I roll?
Oh my
nice.
god, 1 millennia later.
You rolled a 1, clown.
That's the worst. You have a whole group, and it's an hour of waiting for your turn, then to roll, to critically fail, and just be like, well, there goes another hour. I'll see you. See you in 30 minutes.
All right, I'm going to go watch a sitcom, and I'll be back.
Yeah. Heard the
all right, Mike, number 5.
Yeah, catch up on the bear.
My number 5, it was the third. Again, these are no ranking in particular, but the third season of Star Trek Picard. I genuinely like the season. As someone who really was let down by the first season and didn't even watch the second season, I like the third season.
I liked the first season. I was told so many awful things about the second season that I haven't watched. So can I skip season 2 and pick up in 3 and be fine?
You could skip all the next gen movie and just go from the last episode of All Good Things into this probably.
I appreciate your stick-to-itiveness to not like 2 seasons and be like, well, we're gonna give this third one a try.
Yeah, I was gonna say, question from the class: how do you skip season 2 and be like, yeah, season 3 is the one for me?
Because this one, I don't know. I had a feeling halfway through the first season, I'm like, something's just not working for me with this. And then I kind of checked out at the very end of the first season, and I'm kind of like, okay. And then I heard about the second season. I'm like, it's not going to pull me back in. But getting the original cast back to actually be actually involved and not just like, hey, Geordi's here for 5 minutes.
Right.
And then he's gone. Like, they're actually involved in the story. They actually get to complete character arcs from not just the movies, but from the TV shows. It actually felt like a good conclusion to this strand of Star Trek. So,
yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about season 3. I need to check it out. Kathleen, what you got at number 5?
Number 5 is actually Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, I loved it, which is ridiculous.
I did too, but I mean, it's not in my top 20. But I enjoyed it.
No, it was surprisingly refreshing, which is stupid, but because it wasn't just a straight in your face horror slasher, it was like, I don't know, I enjoyed not being like, this is gonna be the scariest thing ever. No, it was,
I mean, like, yeah, I could like, I had my kids like Five Nights at Freddy's, so my wife was like, okay, we're all gonna watch Five Nights at Freddy's. I'd heard a couple of my coworkers talking about it, and they were on either end of the spectrum for that movie. One of them was a big fan and was like, all right, it was Five Nights at Freddy's. I had a good time. The other one was not a Five Nights at Freddy's fan and was just like, this was the dumbest thing I've ever watched. So yeah, I went into it with that in my head. Yeah, it wasn't like criminally offensive, but like I wouldn't necessarily call it good. I liked Matthew Lillard in it, but like
I really liked I don't know. I think it was the fact that it was I liked the sort of PG-13 spin on a horror movie with we're gonna make it a horror movie, but not make it super gory and stupid.
But only the bad people die.
Right.
It had fun cameos in it too, like YouTuber Matt Pat, who does a lot of game series stuff. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And I think too, because I watched it right before I took my daughter to Chuck E. Cheese, it made it that much funnier for me.
Is Matt Pat the one that always has this face?
Yeah, game theory.
Okay.
Like,
that guy.
Not just a theory. It's
a theory. Oh man.
He just retired.
He did, and happy retirement to him.
Isn't he like younger than us?
No, he's younger than some of us, but he's almost 40.
Man.
Retiring to go and spend time with his wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Five Nights at Freddy's is everything that I like about Blumhouse, and this is gonna sound like an insult, but I don't mean it as it. But Blumhouse can take like a middle of the road movie and make it fun. Like I had fun
right in the middle of that road.
And plus, to add to that, like Blumhouse will try anything, and that's one of the reasons I like them as a studio. Like they'll make one of the most absurd sounding movies, and it will either work or it won't, but they'll try it. And Five Nights at Freddy's, I have no affiliation with the game. I hadn't seen Willy's Wonderland. I have a feeling if I had seen Willy's Wonderland, my thoughts on this might be a little different because I've heard Willy's Wonderland is incredible. But no, I dug it too, Kathleen. I really, really did. My number 4 is Succession. I like this show. It's a dramatic version of Arrested Development, like in all intents and purposes. It's about a messed up family trying to inherit their father's business. And I was just this show is a masterclass in acting. Like everybody in this show just gave performances of a lifetime. Like if it wasn't Kieran Culkin, it could have been any member of that cast. I think there was a category where it was literally 4 people from Succession and 2 people from White Lotus. Like that was the entire category, and Kieran Culkin still won. Usually when shows go up against 4 other people, they split the vote. So I mean that just says something. But Succession is so good. It's 50 episodes, like for the whole series, I think, or maybe 40. And it's a good show. If you want to watch just acting, then that's it. That's why I want to watch the Flower movie with De Niro and DiCaprio. I don't even care if the movie's good or not. I just want to see those 2 act because I've seen the
Killers
trailer.
of the Flower Moon.
I've heard it's really
like
good.
They're acting their ass off in that movie.
So I always just want to clarify, like the flower. Oh, Killers of the Flower Moon. Okay.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. Heavy material, but a good movie.
I saw the trailer for that, and I'm like, man, those 2.
DiCaprio in the garden, just snipping flowers. The Flower movie.
Lily Gladstone is like phenomenal in that film too.
The TV show, just them sniffing flowers.
Yeah. This is a good smelling rose.
Yeah, Succession.
You should check out Fat Daisy.
That Daisy killed him.
Number 4, Cocaine Bear.
No, stop it. Okay, bro.
Eventually, you're gonna be right.
It's number 1. Just okay.
All right, fine. Fuck it. Number 4, Cocaine Bear. I love Cocaine Bear. All right, like if y'all are just gonna just fucking shit all over my list. Fucking Cocaine Bear was awesome. Best movie of the fucking year.
You insulted his notebook.
No, dude, it would have been in my top 5. I only left it off because I knew you were going to put it on. That movie's fantastic.
What was your number 4,
The
Matt?
most entertaining thing to come out this year, or come out last year, was Cocaine Bear.
Max, this is all just training for the AI that's going to replace you.
He's a very, very aggressive AI, Max.
Yeah. No. See, like this. Thank you, Jason, for fucking up the AI because the AI would have put Cocaine Bear number 1, and now it's number 4. Cocaine Bear. Go see it. Look, if you are down for a movie called Cocaine Bear, absolutely go watch Cocaine Bear. It is everything you want from a film called Cocaine Bear. If you're not down for a movie Cocaine Bear, just let it alone.
I watched Press Your Luck, and the host of the show is the director of Cocaine Bear, and one of the contestants brought her a tray of cookies of little bears with cocaine on their nose, like on network television. Fantastic. And, dude, this movie
so much cocaine.
Like, if you think this movie is not going to go there, it goes there. In every shape of sense of the word, go there. Like, if you think, hey, there's no way they're going to let these 2 kids do this, and they let those 2 kids do it. This movie is all in.
I think there's only like 3 characters in the movies who don't do cocaine.
Yeah.
In that movie.
Well, and especially since it's like
it's not even not the kids.
Yeah, it's not the kids. It's not who you think it's not going to be.
It takes the phrase "based on a true story" to a whole new level because the actual true story is just depressing.
Yeah, the true story is boring. Like
boring and depressing. The bear dies.
Yeah, the bear dies.
Too much cocaine. Surprise.
The bear does the bear doesn't even do a whole lot of cocaine for a bear. Like the Cocaine Bear, that bear does enough cocaine.
What is a lot of cocaine for a bear?
Raccoons. Question from the class. Yeah. What's the bear amount of cocaine?
The amount of cocaine, a lot of cocaine for a bear is just watch Cocaine Bear. That much.
We have the whole universe of cocaine.
Bare necessities, the simple bare.
The bare necessity is cocaine, and they get it. They get it.
The Jungle Book would be a very different movie if it had
cocaine. What if this is the Rise of the Planet of the Apes style prequel to how we get Tailspin? Bears do enough cocaine that they can fly planes.
Yes, I'm down. Let's go.
I would watch the crap out of that.
Oh my goodness.
They're trying to get to the Arctic.
Come on, Disney.
Shere Khan agrees.
Yes. Come on, Disney. We're throwing you gold.
Can this tailspin hit the public domain?
Not soon enough.
Just
Not soon enough.
Baloo doing rails off of that Sea Duck plane.
Oh, yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Chasing clouds or whatever that one kid's name was.
What's the pilot duck? What was his name?
Launchpad.
Launchpad McQuack. Does Baloo and Launchpad doing rails on the Yes.
All this.
They're attacking Dora the Explorer that's like in the jungle. Taking out random children TV shows.
All I can picture now is Baloo sitting over there going, "So where we going, Launchpad?"
Yeah.
Well, no, he'd say little. Was it little? He said a little britches, right?
Yeah.
Hey, little britches.
I've been up for 3 weeks.
Oh, yes.
Oh crap! That was the cargo.
Justin.
Someone, please! I am begging. Please make this show. I will watch every single episode 3 times at minimum.
Okay, this might be worth feeding it to the computer to make it happen.
Okay, AI can finally do some good. It can give me something I want. Make this happen.
It'll be a fun script. My number 4. This is hard to place for me, so I wouldn't really. This could be 3, 2, or maybe even 1. But The Last of Us TV show, so good. I loved that.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I'm gonna save my thoughts.
That was this year.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was in January. It was. I had to like do some research when it popped out. Yeah, it was January.
Yeah,
But,
I got
Last of Us. If you have not seen it, please take some time. Go watch it. A lot of fun.
I had to double check when Last of Us was too for making my list.
Hello, George.
Hi, George. All right.
Hey, Lenny.
You? What's your
For me, for my number 4, for something that you all hate, Indiana Jones.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I love the Dial of Destiny. I thought
I haven't watched it, so I can't hate it yet.
I didn't mind it. But top 5 is interesting.
Okay, so all fairness out there, I'm a massive Harrison Ford fan. I love Indiana Jones. He's one of my all-time favorite characters. I love the fact that it's the conclusion to the story. I love the fact that it kind of buttons a few things up, and I just really, really enjoyed that movie. And for me, anytime I get to sit, except for the last 10 minutes of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that was an abomination. The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Horrendous.
What's that? What's
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I see what you're doing there, Max. Shut up. Anyway,
Pretend that one doesn't exist.
Exactly. The last 10 minutes of the movie doesn't exist. I actually enjoyed the rest of it, but I really enjoyed this movie. Anytime I get a chance to sit down and watch Indiana Jones, whatever it is, it's kind of like old home week to me. It's got that good feeling right here in my chest. It just makes me comfortable, and it's not quite Star Wars, but it's like right up there.
That's just because you like Harrison Hottie Pants.
That is also not the point.
You know, Tim, besides a few critics, I have not heard anybody in real life say that they did not like Dial of Destiny. Like, everybody I've talked to has really enjoyed it, or enjoyed it. At the very least, they enjoyed it.
You have to go into it knowing that there's going to be some de-aging. You have to go into it knowing that Harrison Ford is in his 80s and he's not doing all the crazy stuff that he did back, 40 years ago when the other movies came out. And you have to know that they're trying to wrap up the story and give it a better conclusion, because they darn near crapped on the franchise with the end of Crystal Skull, and they really pissed off the fandom and all those things. And so you have to kind of go into it knowing that. And if you go into it with that mindset that they're correcting a few things, but it's still not going to be perfect, because it's never going to be exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah,
it can be a really fun movie.
Now,
and
Tim,
it's really enjoyable.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Aside from the video game, which they announced a couple of days ago, which actually looks kind of good, despite what I was saying earlier about the graphics. Like, do you think they should just leave Indiana Jones well enough alone at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
This movie now needs to be the concluding point. There shouldn't be any more video games. There shouldn't be comic books. There shouldn't be anything else moving forward. This movie was supposed to be like the cap on the end of it. And to have a video game come out, to me, kind of undoes that.
Unless, of course, they can get Shia LaBeouf in it, and then.
No,
they kick her out. Kick her out now. Kick her out now. Now.
Well, you gotta do it like Shia LaBeouf. No.
George, actually, Dead Reckoning almost made my list because it's my favorite Mission Impossible movie since the first one. I thought Dead Reckoning was awesome, but George just doesn't like the Mission Impossible movies. Like, I get it, but
I like the action. I have the Mission Impossible movies. I like the action and the stunt work. I can't tell you a thing about any of the plots of those movies because I don't remember.
Plots?
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember anything having to do with the plots of those movies.
The Mission Impossible movie is just how did Tom Cruise almost die?
Yeah. I look for that now.
When I would watch Mission Impossible, like the Fallout and Rogue Nation, all those, I always had my phone in my hand playing games. With Dead Reckoning, I put my phone down and actually watched the movie. I had a lot of fun with that. And they just
here's how I would watch. Here's how I would watch Dead Reckoning. With a knife like this, and then
Seppuku Reckoning.
I would be dead from the reckoning. Yes.
Well, you wouldn't have to do that. Tom Cruise would leap out of the screen and be like, "I'm crazy. Go to the movies, everybody."
Scientology, damn you.
What's that John quote? I'm like, wow.
John, that is just Tom Cruise
I'm
hatred.
not sure that's an agreeable statement.
There is no plot and character. I like the Fast and Furious movies. I have fun when I watch them. There's
family.
No development in those movies at all.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Everyone ends up being related to Vin Diesel. All the bad guys end up being related to Vin Diesel.
Have you seen my second cousin?
Yeah,
I've been drinking all night and I haven't said anything crazy like that. Come on, John.
Wildly offensive, but I'm here for it.
I guess my number 4. I'm gonna pair up some stuff here because I couldn't pick or choose one in particular. Let's hear it for unique visuals in animated movies again, like Mutant Mayhem and Across the Spider-Verse. Nice. Really great creative artistic choices while having really well-told stories and character work.
Good. This frees up some of my for some of my list. Mutant Mayhem and Across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse is the greatest sequel ever made. As far as
that's my number 2, by the way.
That
was my number 2 as well.
Right. I mean, it's so good. I freaking love that movie. I resonate so hard with the Miles Morales character that I'm just like, I didn't even know that he had taken this place in my heart.
Yeah.
And Across the Spider-Verse let me know. I mean, like, I loved Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, I would sing the praises of that movie until fucking Armageddon.
Across is so good.
Yeah.
Agreed. And it took me back to, like, remember Spider-Man, the 90s cartoon where, like, you'd have, like, team-ups of Spider-Man? Like, it brought me back to that. And, like, that being nostalgic about that made me feel really
good. You had, like, what's his name? Josh Keaton was there voicing Spectacular Spider-Man from, like, the 2008 or whatever series. You had like references to others. I loved how each world had its own unique visual aesthetic, like Mumbai.
The tie-ins, the tie-ins and the callbacks to all these other things, and like you were saying, all these different worlds being brought in. It's just so good and so good.
And on the Mutant Mayhem side of things, I just love that they got actual kids to play the turtles and the actual aesthetic of it being like just ugly New York graffiti. Like I love that look. Like,
it was such a refreshing take on Ninja Turtles. Like I really did enjoy all the things that were wildly different from any Ninja Turtles you've ever seen. Mutant Mayhem was a lot of fun. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. I didn't really like the art going into it, so I had a chip on my shoulder going into it, and then won me over.
Right there. That was. Dang it, Max, we're agreeing on a lot of stuff tonight. I'm very uncomfortable with this.
You're agreeing on things.
Look, Tim, I think that just means that you become sensible when you drink heavily. That's all that means.
Max, you're agreeing on things.
Cheers, buddy.
Across the Spider-Verse was only left off my list because I knew somebody here would have it. That movie's incredible. Best sequel of all time. I don't want to make that declaration. I have to look, but it's definitely in that conversation. It was incredible. It did what
Empire Strikes Back
does.
Empire Strikes Back.
Characters
it's better than Empire Strikes Back.
The bottom line of my whole thing
is where we fight.
The bottom line is just pay your animators better and don't treat them like shit.
Right.
So
I can't. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That one made my. didn't make my top 5. It's an honorable mention for me, but I went into it very much not having like high expectations because I didn't like the art. And the first couple minutes of watching it, I was like, I'm gonna hate this. This sucks. This is awful. I'm like, but I'm gonna knuckle down. I'm gonna watch this movie because it was getting such good reviews. I'm like, there has to be something I'm missing. There has to be something I'm not seeing or hearing. And after a couple minutes, I was like, okay, all right. Because then they kind of suck in with the story, and then they have great character development in TMNT. Mutant Mayhem is a great story.
Yep.
And then the animation is almost secondary. You don't care about the animation anymore. And then it kind of comes back around, and then you're like, oh, I like what they did with the juxtaposition of the color and the black and the white.
Good.
And then
you know, it's so good.
And I just want to point out that I can use big words too, Mike. I use juxtaposition.
Brava.
Kathleen, what's your number 4?
Bluey.
Bluey?
I watched so much Bluey that it had to be on the list.
Bluey rocks.
Have you seen the?
I would prefer the Blue we talked about earlier, but sweet. I'm glad.
Kathleen, have you seen the Bluey episode Disney will not air because it's about pregnancy?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of a great episode, right?
It is.
So what now?
Bluey got knocked up.
No, I mean it's like the whole thing about Bluey.
I hope not.
I just noticed because I have someone in my life who has a kid and they watch Bluey all the time. But like it's about
hold on, Googling.
It's a family of dogs and the kids are always like playing pretend and the parents are always along for like their shenanigans. Mm-hmm. Like it's very low stakes.
I know a guy who wrote an article about why you should watch Bluey even if you don't have kids.
But there was a pregnancy episode where the dad had to be like pretending he was pregnant and going through like
I appreciate yourself
all the different aspects
of pregnancy. I picked up on that, huh?
Yeah, there's a few things that the Disney has to change because it's not appropriate for the US, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, maybe. Interesting.
So my number 3 is Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's a fantastic show from start to finish. Really good, exploring the life of a stand-up comedy in the late 50s, early 60s, all the way up to later in her life. And I didn't know that it was loosely based on Joan Rivers until I started the final season, and it like makes even more sense to a lot of things that happen. And it is, if you like stand-up comedy, if you like good television, if you like just good acting, Rachel Brosnahan she's fantastic at the comedy stuff. It's a very good show. Everybody go check it out. I highly recommend it. Sticks the landing too, which is something you can't say for a lot of TV shows.
Yeah.
What show, Jay?
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon.
Oh, that's a great show. Yeah, my wife and I watched that. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Max, what's your 3?
My 3 is going to go to Creed. I watched that recently, actually.
It was almost on my list.
Oh, all right. Hey,
with arms wide open.
What's Kang's name? The actor.
Man,
Jonathan Majors.
Redacted.
Hey, no. I mean, like, look. It turns out the asshole's good at playing an asshole. Like he does a real good job. Like,
who'd have thunk?
Right? Like he wasn't even acting.
Surprise!
No, I like this movie so much better than Creed 2. I was shocked. People kept telling me that it was good, and I was like, no, Creed 2 was kind of bullshit. Like, I don't know. But, so Creed 3 really brought me back. And Michael B. Jordan can wear a suit. I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, dang, that dude looks good in a friggin' suit. Like, for that alone, they could have just walked Michael B. Jordan around in a suit, and that would have been it. But, like, there's actually good acting in that movie. And, I like as an end to the Creed series or whatever. It's awesome. I really hope they don't take it farther than this.
It's not the end. Definitely not the end.
Oh, it should be.
If Rocky has taught you anything,
not the end. Yeah, but like Rocky got worse. As the movies got worse as they went along. Like this
until Balboa.
Really,
right. When they kicked it back up, it got better. But I agree with you after progression of the original series.
Yeah, Like, I mean, and Rocky IV is my favorite. It's not a good movie. It's just my favorite movie.
Rocky IV is not garbage, but it's still a fun movie.
That's why I like Creed 2, because it was a sequel to Rocky IV, so it was like as good as a sequel to Rocky IV could be.
I guess there's that.
Dude, when I left Creed 3, it's the same thing I said about Succession. Like, that movie is another masterclass in acting. Like, Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan just act the shit out of those roles. You don't miss Sylvester Stallone. You know,
I'm glad he wasn't in it. I'm glad he wasn't in it because he would have distracted from it.
I like how they used Drago's son as kind of the Apollo from the original Rocky series. Like, I dug that. Like, I really liked Creed 3 is second, maybe third best Rocky franchise movie of all time. Like, I really liked Creed 3.
Third best.
Maybe not end it, but maybe like what they did with Rocky, let it go away for a while and then come back, revitalize with some stuff. Yeah.
I really like. I'm gonna like borrow, you know, what Tim said about Indiana Jones. Just cap it here, and it'll be perfect. And just let it end. Let it end. I mean, I love Michael B. Jordan, but you know, let's let this go. Like, you've told a good story. And we really don't need anything else. And I mean, like, if Creed is a supporting character in something else, like maybe that, but like I don't need it. Like this was just so good that I really think you should make it the period on.
Oh,
well, to be fair,
it's a brand. It's not going away.
For sure. Like, go ahead, Jason.
You didn't think you needed this either, and you liked it. They've already announced Creed 4. It's coming. Michael B. Jordan is writing and directing it again, like he did 3. And man, his directing in Creed 3, I think that was his directorial debut.
It was great. It was
fantastic.
Great. Yeah, and I would leave this alone, you know. Again, but I like things to end. I don't mind if they don't carry on into perpetuity. Like this would be the perfect stopping point. And
it's okay for certain things to end and enjoy it for what it is.
Yes. I can just watch Creed again. Like, if I want to see good Creed, like I like, you don't need to like, and like, hey, I could be wrong too. Creed 4 can be one of the greatest films, you know, Creed films out there, but like, I just don't see where it gets better than this, and I would just let it be.
Yeah, if they have a good story, tell a good story. But if you don't, let's just...
I agree. But leave Rocky's done. Like, let Rocky be.
Absolutely.
Creed 2 ended Rocky's story perfectly. Just leave Rocky where he is, because you know he reunites with his son at the end of Creed 2. Perfect wrap up. I'm honestly, when Creed 3 was announced and said Stallone wasn't coming back, I'm like, that's bullshit. But after watching Creed 3, I'm like, you don't need Stallone. Like, it still feels like a Rocky movie. It still feels like it's in that universe. Like, it feels.
Rocky would have been a distraction. He would have been a distraction in that movie.
Yeah, it would have taken away from the story because they'd have to ham fist some storyline with him in there.
Yeah,
so good, so surprisingly good. Justin, what about you?
My number 3. No, my number 3 was Creed as well. So you can go to
Tim.
Max, everything I wanted to say.
So my number 3 is a documentary, actually. And it's a documentary called Disturbance in the Force. We interviewed Kyle Newman on the FSF PopCast, and he and a bunch of other people got together to make a documentary about the holiday special, the Star Wars holiday special. And it's actually the documentary is actually really, really very good. It doesn't like try to make the holiday special out to be something that it's not. It doesn't try to make it seem like it's the greatest movie and you're all sleeping on this. You should have watched it. And they call it out for being as bad as it was. But they also talk to people behind the scenes. And then you get to talk to people who watched it on TV. And you got to keep in mind, this was only the second thing ever Star Wars ever made. So like, you know, there was A New Hope. And that time it was just called Star Wars, but there was A New Hope. And then there was the Star Wars holiday special. So people got to watch Star Wars in their home, and they were excited about that. Like, you know, you see guys like Kevin Smith.
They watched it.
Well, yeah. No, but even Kevin Smith is like, he talks about how, you know, yeah, it wasn't good, but I was watching Star Wars in my home, you know. And there's a lot of interesting background story and things that happened, and you kind of find out how much George Lucas was involved in the Star Wars holiday special, which for those playing the home game, it's 0. And it's actually just really, really well done. I very much enjoyed that documentary. and it kind of peels back some of the layers on the holiday special. And again, it doesn't encourage you to go watch it with the aspect of golly, this is a good movie and well worth your time, and you won't regret having wasted this hour and a half to 2 hours of your life, because you will regret it when you're done. But there's something else attached to it at the end, and it's a really interesting look into a very odd time in the Star Wars universe.
Now, Tim, when you started, I thought you were saying that your podcast was the documentary. Like, we interviewed the Star Wars guy. Greatest documentary of 2023.
Yeah, watching Max's reaction with that, I really enjoyed, because I was like, oh.
No. We had Kyle Newman on our show.
Full disclosure.
Who happened to be one of the producers of that documentary.
It's good. Like,
our self-promotion game's really stepping up.
I was definitely wrong. I just thought, I was like, all right, hey, it was plugged like rocket. Like, let's go.
No. It was so, honestly, I thought it was really, really good, and I very much enjoyed it. And if you just watch the original Plane Ride, it's so good.
The first one,
the original. I like the first three movies of Fast and Furious.
The three I don't like.
And then I went downhill from there, because they didn't say family every 5 seconds in the first.
And then you have me that if I'm watching a Vin Diesel movie, it's going to be The Pacifier.
The Pacifier is fun. I like the Pacifier.
I'd rather play in traffic than watch The Pacifier.
All right.
Wow.
Mike, what's your 3?
How about triple?
My 3 would be the whole Barbenheimer experience, because like Max said, Barbie was a very well-made, funny, heartfelt movie with great production value and great performances from Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling and everyone else. And then Oppenheimer is just like a visual feast. You won't feel good at the end of it, but you'll be like, that's a really well put together movie and really well acted.
I
feel good about it.
And I'm sorry because I don't know the actor's actual name. Shang-Chi as Asian Ken is just the best. He's the best Ken, hands down.
Oh, I don't know. Shooty was really good too. Shooty, the newest Doctor. He was
one of the Kens.
Shooty-gawa.
Yeah, Shooty-gawa.
Michael Cera as Alan trumps all of them. So.
Michael Cera as Alan is good.
He was really good.
But no, I was like, oh shit, it's Shang-Chi, and then like he was good. Like I
watched that movie.
He was looking good. I dug it.
They did. Both movies provided me with 2 laugh out loud moments, which is weird for Oppenheimer, but I'll explain. The first
nuclear bombs are funny.
The first thing in Barbie. Well, I mean, I found Barbie just generally consistently really clever and funny, but the one where I just lost it was like when what's her name shows up from Cheers. She plays the founder. She plays Barbie's creator.
Kirstie Alley?
No, not Kirstie Alley.
Lily.
Rhea Perlman.
Yeah.
Okay. Rhea Perlman. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Rhea. I love you. But like she shows up.
Kirstie Alley was in that movie. I was like,
she shows up at the end. She shows up at the end of Barbie as Barbie's like creator and stuff. And everyone's like, ooh, and then Will Ferrell's character is like, her ghost haunts an office on the 17th floor. And I'm like, oh my God, that's dark.
Between that and her tax evasion joke.
Yep. I was like, ooh. Mattel, you full transparency here, Mattel. Good for you.
Well, that's a different movie. Are we promising that? Because I would also watch that.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. And then on the biopic side of it, with Oppenheimer, I just found it hilarious that, I guess this was true, Albert Einstein would just show up on people's front lawns in Princeton, and like he just shows up out of nowhere. Like a car pulls away, and there's Albert Einstein ready to talk to Oppenheimer about like they're going to hate you.
Gray hair,
yeah,
just away.
But apparently that's something he did when he was on campus. He would just like walk the campus at night. So that
how long have you been standing there?
Just made me chuckle.
I love seeing Robert Downey Jr. getting all this love right now for his acting. I think he is deserving of all the awards he's getting right now. Deserving, yeah. Kathleen, what is your number 3?
So it was a close tie for my number 3, but the ultimate winner.
I killed Mike. I'm sorry.
The ultimate winner was season 7 of Outlander.
Outlander. Okay, I've never watched that show.
I adore that show. And there are so many things, because with the pandemic and things being delayed, and so then we got longer episodes and longer season, even though they split the season in parts, which is annoying. But just because of where they are in the storyline, it's a part of history that I super love, because we're getting into the American Revolutionary War, and it's like there's so much. And there's so many things that are going wrong in that show that I'm like, oh, if he just would listen to his wife for 5 seconds, he wouldn't be in that problem. But no, because he's a stubborn Scotsman, he's gonna be stupid again. Like, I love it.
Sounds like most marriages, but okay.
It really does.
I've heard nothing but good things about Outlander. I might have to check it out.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's quite the commitment.
Somebody's asking what documentary that was, Tim.
Disturbance in the Force.
Okay. All right. My number 2 was a surprise for me, because I'm going to watch anything Superman, but the surprise behind it is like how good it actually was, and that is My Adventures with Superman on
the anime series, right?
On Mac. Oh my God, it was so good. Like I was in. I loved every second, and I loved the fact that it was really well done. Like, because Superman stuff, you get some hokey stuff, and you just, like Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. Like, I love that show. Not great, like, so Smallville, like, they had some good episodes, but there's a lot of not great in that as well. But
it has its moments, yeah.
My Adventures with Superman was so good. Max even liked it.
Yeah, I am an avid Superman hater. I can't stand the character. I really don't feel like there's anything interesting about watching God will walk around. It's just, yeah, like he sucks. But no, My Adventures with Superman's a lot of fun. I like the new things they're doing with the characters. I really like the animation. And the show is well written, and it paces out very well too. So yeah, I'm a fan of it, and I'm hoping for a season 2 soon, or I don't know if they're guaranteed if they're if that's working or not.
I think they're in production.
Yeah, that's the word. It's dope. I liked it a lot.
It's WB. It's hard to know.
It gets the Animaniacs seal of approval.
Zaslav's watching right now. He's like, well, I'm scrapping that. $50 more to me.
Oh my God. Can we stop Zaslav from absorbing Paramount, please? Somebody make it happen. Like Netflix, you got money, buy Paramount, please. But anyway,
Netflix doesn't have money.
Yeah, Netflix broke.
Netflix is airing.
Amazon and Apple, you guys got all the money. Like, absorb Paramount so Disney and Max.
Tell Elon Musk to buy it. I'm sure that'll turn out fine.
Yeah. I'll call it Y.
It's so funny though, is somebody soon is going to be like, hey, I've developed this thing where you have all of these channels in the same spot, and we're just going to go back to cable.
Yeah.
It's already happening. I mean, Prime has a lot of channels you can purchase and put on there.
My number 2 is going to. All right, so I'm just going to list off a couple of anime here. Freeren and Shangri-La Frontier. They are 2 anime that came out last year, and they like Freeren I like because it is really different than any fantasy action anime that I've ever seen. It's very slow paced, and there's not a whole lot of action in it, but it's still very, very interesting. It's the main character is an elf who's very long lived. So it's more on kind of how she sees things, and the timing is odd, and I really like it. So if you're looking for an anime that's not a lot of just flashing and crazy anime tropes, this one is a good place to start. It's slower paced, it's not very loud, and the characters are all interesting. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. Shangri-La Frontier is on the other side of that. You want an action anime that's all of the action anime? Watch Shangri-La Frontier. The art is beautiful. Stuff happens every episode, and it's a guy playing a video game. But if you need that in your life, it's probably the best one doing it right now. One that did just come out is called Solo Leveling. I think the art's just a little bit better, but the story's basically the same. But yeah, So those two, number 2, anime. Watch it.
Nice, Justin.
Cool. So my original was Across the Universe, Spider-Verse. So I'll just do an alternative. John Wick 4. I enjoyed all the John Wicks.
I need to watch that. I heard it was good.
Conclusion was fun. Yeah. Watching Keanu Reeves murder a bunch of folks in revenge of his dog. Good time.
Nice. That's my favorite part of Reacher too, is when he starts beating people up and killing them.
There's a very cool Max. You'll like this. There's a very cool nod to the Warriors in John Wick 4.
All right. I'm down for it.
What about you, Tim?
So my number 2 was Spider-Verse. We've already talked about that. But I'll throw another TV show out there for you guys to check out if you haven't already. It's a cop show. It's more of a detective show, but it's I found it to be really cool because the guy who's the detective has a learning disability, and he's very dyslexic, has a hard time reading. It's called Will Trent.
So
good. It was on ABC.
Yeah, it's very good.
It is so good. The guy who's the lead actor in that show, he's very believable, very convincing in his role, and you buy into the premise almost immediately that here's a guy with a learning disability and struggling to do the job that he's hired to do, and he's got all these other things kind of around him, and the issues that he grew up with, and and kind of working his way through the system as a kid, and all these different things. Very cool story. The background story is almost as cool as the stories from week to week, the things that he goes and investigates and everything. So I'll throw that out there as an alternative to Spider-Verse 2, which we already talked about.
One of the best network shows in a while.
I thought so too, because half the time when something comes out on the networks, I kind of give it the flyby, because chances are it's going to be so watered down that it's hard to watch and becomes unenjoyable. But I really thought they did a good job of keeping this a little bit edgy, which I was surprised of, because it's on ABC. I expected it to be a little more watered down, have a little less edge to it, but it's a good show. I strongly suggest everybody check it out.
Yeah, it's not bad. I love cop shows, but the cop shows are a lot harder to hold my attention now because I've seen so many, and that one definitely was.
It's no Rookie with Nathan Fillion, but
I know nothing is Nathan Fillion. Like, come on, Nathan Fillion can do no wrong in my eyes. Mike, what is your number 2?
Mine.
I'm sorry, Jason.
Go ahead.
If Nathan Fillion and Jean-Claude Van Damme got into a fight, who do you want to win?
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion.
This is for Jason.
Yeah, I don't care what Jason's answer is.
Nathan Fillion, Max, he would never let that happen. Okay.
So the answer is Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yep.
He just gave him the.
I'm just gonna say this.
Jason his Kobayashi Maru.
I'm
not in the dude. If Nathan Fillion offered me to go back to his hotel room, I might think about cuddling. You know what I'm saying? Van Damme, I don't want to cuddle with Van Damme. So take that out.
Jason's over here like,
scenario.
All right, sorry.
Volunteering for Small Spoon. I am Small Spoon. Go ahead.
I am sure it's very cuddly.
Why would they fight when they can love? And Van Damme is so bendy. Yeah.
Oh! Down goes Tim.
You all right there, buddy?
Bourbon's not supposed to go down that pipe.
Okay.
Oh.
No, you're not supposed to breathe your bourbon.
To go up. You're a man.
Yeah. My number 2.
We killed Tim.
I know, we're killing everyone tonight. Godzilla -1 was my number 2.
That was my number 1. I loved that movie.
Aside from the person sitting next to me in the theater who would not shut up about how much he hates modern pop culture, I enjoyed the movie greatly.
You had a Godzilla movie, you idiot.
Yeah, I was like, I enjoyed the movie immensely. It was a great adventure film, great period piece, great actual serious drama. Like, this is the first time in a Godzilla movie that I actually care about the human characters as actual characters.
Wow.
And not just action figures. So good on them for that. And yeah, it was really cool. And this is a case of I don't need a sequel to this. Mm-hmm. This is a good on its own Godzilla story. You can make more in Monsterverse and whatever you want to do. Just let this stand on its own. Like Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla was very good. One and done type of thing.
All right, so Mike, I got a question for you about it. So, being a guy who perpetually avoids all things Godzilla.
Nah. Okay.
All right. So, with that in mind, because most of the Godzilla movies to me are like, so you're gonna have a monster walk out of the ocean, destroy the city, and then it dies or they kill it or whatever. How probable is someone who's not a Godzilla fan to like -1?
I think the probability is a little bit higher that you'll enjoy it more so than probably what you construe as being typical Godzilla fare. Like, there's a lot of different genres in this. There is war movie. There is, again, like I said, human drama. There's an island adventure scenario in there. There's a little bit of Jaws. And then there's the Godzilla stuff, the destruction stuff.
Yeah, the human element was really well done in this one, so you might enjoy that if you're not a big fan of the monster part of it. Because really, I really enjoyed seeing Japan post World War II kind of trying to recover.
I love the Godzilla movies, dating all the way back to the 50s when it first came out and stuff.
Sure.
But I'll admit, in a lot of those films, there is a lot of downtime where you're with human characters, in labs, talking about well, this is what this alien is going to do. And then that's when I kind of check out because I'm like, let's just get to the people in the suits. Here I was like, oh no, I'm invested. How do they come up with a solution? Because this is after Tokyo was bombed all to hell in World War II and stuff. So Japan's not really got the resources it had or it has now in contemporary times. So you're kind of wondering how is this country that is just getting over this cataclysm? How are they going to deal with this next cataclysm that's unworldly?
Not yet built the giant robots to fight the Godzilla.
Yeah, there's no giant robots in this, but you're okay, how do these people with World War II resources fight a giant lizard?
Okay, so now I didn't realize that it was set in the World War II era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that
immediately after they surrendered.
Okay, so that automatically makes it more interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it too that Godzilla is a result of the atomic
nuclear
bomb?
testing? Yeah.
Well, it has its cake and eats it too because he's kind of like this mythical folklore creature beforehand, and then the nuclear stuff plays into it as well. So it's kind of
so you got me there. That's the hook. Because the last Godzilla movie that I watched all the way through had Matthew Broderick in it.
Yes, come with me.
That's just good. That's just good fun to have a good chuckle with.
Mm-hmm.
And I regretted it ever since.
Oh my god!
I enjoyed the cartoon a lot.
Yeah.
Terrible movie.
Cartoon was good.
The soundtrack was banging though.
Oh yeah, come with me.
I'll keep it up,
my
Mike.
god!
Rage Against the Machine, No Shelter. Heck yeah.
Tim, you can die on our show. I'm just going to turn it into a short if you do and share it on the internet. Just so you know, going forward, I will monetize it. I will make money.
Have AI generated art as the reflection of his dying.
Here's how our buddy Tim died, and go.
Sponsored by Dudesy.
Will Sasso's AI generated obituary.
Sasso, you cannot AI my death.
All right, my number 2, and again, it's because I have a young kid, but also because I am still a kid. Trolls Band Together. Honestly, was so freaking good.
Gave me a Max's reaction. So I'm down for the new NSYNC song.
Oh my gosh.
NSYNC Back Together, the movie.
The number of jokes in
Absolutely
it.
Love Max's reaction.
No, that was a joke for the parents. Was phenomenal.
Kathleen's mad respect.
So it really is all of them back together in that movie then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to see those scenes.
And now I just want to
God, hilarious. I just never expected you to say that. Even with your preface of, hey, it's a kid's movie, that was not what I was expecting.
Well, so
hey, no, I'm applauding you.
Especially as a 90s kid who was such an NSYNC fan, the holy crap, we get a new NSYNC song for the first time in 20 years was amazing. And sure, there was a lot of, oh my word, NSYNC's back together for one song. But there are so many boy band jokes in that movie. There were a couple of jokes that my husband and I looked at each other in the theater with oh, I'm so glad she doesn't get that. Because, oh my gosh, I am so glad my 5-year-old did not understand the joke of the honeymoon couple saying that this is not how they expected to get tied up.
Dude,
and that's cool too. She's gonna appreciate it on a whole other level when she watches it when she's older.
Oh, I know, right? And it's so fun. I think because there are so many things that I've watched now as an adult that my parents let me watch as a kid, that I've gone back to my mom with the, what did you let me watch? And she's like, you didn't get the jokes. It wasn't a problem. Like, I get them now.
Touche, salesman, but still.
I'm like, you let me watch that with those jokes? And she's like, yeah, if you had gotten them, I would have had a problem. You didn't get them. Like,
all right, here we go. Our number ones, everybody. We'll see if we can end this show before 8:30. My number one is
not happening.
Max came out with the best sequel of all time. This might have my favorite episode of television of all time in it, and that is The Last of Us. The episode where the two fall in love and we follow their life story.
Episode 3.
They make you care for the characters, and they literally in 43 minutes make you fall in love with this couple. And then by the end, you're crying when what happens to them happens. Like, it is one of the best written shows. It's what I wish The Walking Dead had done, where it focused on humans and not what's going on around them. And it is really, really good. I had no idea like they could act on that level. The theme of my list is acting. Like, the acting in this episode was just unbelievable. Like, I'm surprised the show didn't win more at the Emmys. That's the only downside I had to it. But it is so good. Like, Pedro Pascal
Nick Offerman won, and Nick Offerman deserved to win.
Oh my god, yeah.
The Last of Us is probably one of the obviously top 5 video game adaptations ever. Episode 3 changed my whole view on entertainment. Because if you can't make me care more than they made me care about these characters that I did not know anything about before and died, so had no skin in the game after. Then what are you doing? What are you even doing?
And especially this is my number one as well, Jason. Like, this was as soon as you said top 5, I'm like, okay, so Last of Us goes to the top. But even in the game, when it's you have one cut scene with Nick Offerman's character, the other character is literally hanging in his garage. Like, that's the amount of information you have about him, and you think that they hate each other in the game. To get that much backstory about it and be like, I'm not okay.
I gotta say, I don't want to get into the politics of what I'm about to say, but I know people that, I don't know them, they're not friends of mine, but I know that there's people, because I've seen them talk about it, that weren't necessarily into same-sex couples, that watched this show and their viewpoint changed at the end just because of how much this episode really, really made you care about these two people. It's so freaking good. And it's not just this episode. The entire show is phenomenal. But episode 3 might be my favorite episode of television that I have ever seen. And you guys know on this podcast, I have seen a lot of TV. I've seen more TV in 2023 than most people have seen in their life. I watch a lot.
Tim, what's up?
Okay, question for the class. All right, so full disclosure, I have never watched a second of The Last of Us.
Oh, dude.
You're missing out.
Okay, so here's my question. I'm not big into horror. I hate zombie films. Give me a reason to watch it.
It's so good. I'm also not into horror
aspect of it.
It's so good, and they don't that horror aspect of it is not a lot of the show. It's more about the people during this crazy thing going on.
Yeah,
it's not a lot of just zombies chasing after them and gore and stuff like that.
The only zombie movie I've ever really enjoyed,
Warm Bodies,
Zombieland.
Don't focus on the zombies.
Yeah.
Have you watched Warm Bodies?
It's not about the zombies.
They're hardly in it. It's just it happens to be happening around them, but it's not what the show's about. It's about humans interacting. What happens with humans?
That was my son.
Everyone else saw that guy, right?
Nope.
Okay.
That was my son Nolan. I didn't know he was coming by. I would have turned the camera off.
Nope, nobody saw him. Max is hallucinating.
Guys, if for some reason you lived under a rock like Tim and haven't seen The Last of Us, watch The Last of Us.
Yeah,
Tim, if you like watching good acting and just humans, you'll like this. You will like it.
I will watch it now, because honestly, up until this point, my mindset was, it's a zombie show. and there was no point for me to watch it.
And I'm going to pitch this in a way
get to 3 episodes and see if you want to make it.
I'm going to have you watching this show like as soon as we get out of here. All right, Kate? Like Pedro Pascal escorts a child to a place.
Okay.
Yeah, this is familiar territory for you, Tim.
It's Mandalorian.
I'm hearing Mandalorian. Okay.
Yeah, no, but it's called The Last of Us. It's a Mandalorian, but he lost his armor somehow.
Without any spoilers for Tim, you are going to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Almost
every episode.
It's so good. It's so good. And
the only thing I understood about this show is that there was zombies and Space Daddy escorts a child. That's all I know.
Yeah, no, we'll stick with Space Daddy escorts a child, and I'm telling you, you're gonna love it.
And they're not zombies; they're mushroom people.
Were you a Game of Thrones fan? Did you watch Game of Thrones at all, Tim?
I watched a few episodes, and after about the 14th time the brother went after the sister, I was done.
So the Lady Mormont is gonna sway you, but Lady Mormont is in this, and she's still badass. She's still badass.
Yeah. So and back on episode 3 of it, that's not something I look for in shows. Like I don't care what people do with their lives, what their bedroom choices are. That's fine. That's not my problem. Nick Offerman falling in love, and that is so much of the human aspect of it. It doesn't matter that it was a homosexual relationship. It was you're finding comfort and companionship.
That's it. It's just the relationship. Like
you're finding comfort in a relationship in the worst point of human life. Like, and watching his character change, I sobbed like an absolute freaking baby during that episode.
That's
like
good.
Nick Offerman. We're talking about Ron Swanson, right?
We are talking about Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson.
Okay. I'm with you now. I'm picking up what you're laying down. I'm right there with you.
That was one of the shows that, like, it was when it went up and it was available to stream, I was back here watching it by myself because my husband wasn't interested in it. It was not something I wanted my kid to see. And when I came out of our room after that episode, blubbering, and my husband's like, "Are you okay?" No.
Yeah, she's texting me, "Jason, have you watched it yet? We gotta talk about it." Kathleen was my last of us.
You didn't watch that one until like the Thursday afterward. And I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you?
All right.
Jay and Kathleen, just know that when I do start watching it, I'll be texting you a lot.
Oh yeah, I will do a rewatch with you, Tim.
My number one is going to probably one that nobody here's seen, but it's Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix.
I'm on episode 2. I've liked it so far.
Oh my god, it's so good! And thank you for watching it. Just like, oh my god, like this. It's set in the period of Japan where they closed off their borders. They're very isolationist, and it's a character who's got blue eyes because her dad was a white guy, and so she was shunned by like pretty much the entire nation, and she's thought of as a demon and a monster, and it's got everything. I mean, like samurai revenge story. He sells me, right? With like super strong female lead, and she's so good. The action is so good. The anime is so like it's the Netflix animation where it kind of looks like sort of like dolls, but then animated. And normally it doesn't really do it for me, but like this one pulls it off, and like it's just so good. I was shocked at how much I liked this cartoon, and I'm so happy that there's a season 2. But season 1 was friggin' awesome, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just throw some names out here: Randall Park, George Takei. Okay, like these people are voices in the show. Like, it's so good. It's so good. One more. You might remember Masi Oka from Heroes.
Oh yeah.
So check it out, Blue Eye Samurai. It's brutal. It's bloody as hell, and so if you're not down for that, it's probably you're not gonna enjoy it. But it is just so good. This is like Tarantino-esque revenge story, and There's one scene where they're playing a Japanese Sandman or Master of Puppets. Either way, it's Japanese Metallica, and it is awesome. It is freaking awesome. So yeah, my number one definitely goes to Blue Eye Samurai.
Did you say it was Tarantino-esque?
Tarantino-esque revenge story.
Good enough reason for me to skip it. Okay, good enough. Moving on.
That's so
man. Love
Tarantino. Like Kill Bill?
Justin,
I hate Tarantino. I despise Tarantino.
I didn't like Kill Bill.
No.
Oh, awful! Oh man,
I mean, it's about time you two disagree.
I was to say, you guys have been agreeing too much tonight. Anyway,
we had to hit.
He must have stopped drinking. He must have stopped drinking after he almost. After he almost died.
So my number one was Godzilla, which is fine. Mike said it enough. Like, covered it way better than I did. So go watch Super Mario Brothers. Go watch that. That was a fun movie. It's not number one for me, but it's a good movie. Go watch it.
Very good. Yeah. Tim, what's your number one?
Something that should be a surprise to no one. My number one is Ahsoka.
Tim, I honestly expected Loki on your list. I just started Loki season 2. Oh my god, it's so good.
I almost put Loki on my list. Honestly, that's also in my honorable mentions. Because Loki season 2 is honestly so much better than Loki season 1, which Loki season 1 was pretty dang good.
Loki season 2 made my honorable mentions list just because of Obi.
Oh yeah, well Obi's awesome, but Ahsoka, I loved that season. I loved Ray Stevenson's character. I'm sad that he passed because I really, really want to know what happened more with Baylan Skoll at the end of that season and where his character is going. I'm really, really hoping they recast him with Liev Schreiber because I love Liev Schreiber and I think that physically, visually, and acting wise, those two are a match. And Liev could slide into that role very easily. But Ahsoka, in my opinion, was top tier Star Wars. It's the best that we've had in a long time, probably since Mandalorian season 2, and since Rogue One. And I am very, very excited to see Ahsoka season 2.
You're skipping over Obi-Wan.
Better than Andor.
Obi-Wan sucked.
False.
Obi-Wan was good.
Obi-Wan was awful. Oh my god.
No,
Obi-Wan can't catch a 10-year-old. Oh my god.
Have you tried to chase a 10-year-old?
With the Force?
Max, we're gonna save this for another show. We don't have time in the episode.
He was closed off from the Force at that point.
Okay.
10-year-olds are vicious. Especially that one.
Jesus.
5-year-olds are worse.
Guys,
am I right?
True story.
I was gonna mention Ahsoka as the most meh show that happened in 2023.
Wowzer.
Hold on, if I was a girl, I'd be taking out my earrings to fight you right now.
Come at me, bro.
Well, Max does not like the character Ahsoka, so the fact that he had any enjoyment in it.
Yeah, I still remember, that Comic-Con we were at, and we were doing a panel, and that group of Ahsoka walked in, and Max just stopped talking and just started making fun of the character that they were cosplaying.
Whoa!
That was one of my favorite memories of a Comic-Con.
Oh my gosh!
That was Indiana,
they
right?
walked in, and Max just beelined up. It was like,
I could not see them. They were awful.
Wow.
Tim's like, Max has never been more wrong than he is right now.
No, I definitely
the repugnancy level is like astronomical. It was here. Now it's here.
Oh my goodness. No, Ahsoka
I have to shut up because I might be talking myself out of the. But anyway,
I will agree that Baylan Skoll was a super interesting character that I wanted to see more of.
I want more background on Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati.
As much as I want to see more of them, I want to see less of Ahsoka. Okay,
so we're going to remove your dislike for Ahsoka from the series, but the simple fact that this is a live-action continuation of Rebels, it's Rebels Season 5, it helps kind of close the door on some of the things that was in Rebels, and if you were a Star Wars Rebels fan, which I am, and I love Star Wars Rebels, to me, that show is so good. And in the continuation, It was, to me, it was great. I love Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
I think she does really good. I love the transition from Ahsoka the Grey to Ahsoka the White. It was a really cool nod to Lord of the Rings and a few other things, that they did in that show, which were also really cool nods to LOTR. There's some really cool things in that show.
I like Christensen.
Yeah, I'm just excited. I can't wait to see what they do moving forward. I love the fact that Dave Filoni's in charge of Star Wars now, and the stories actually making sense, and there's really cool callbacks to things that happened in the past, and he's tying things together. And the dialogue isn't
all of the Dave Filoni things. It's crazy how that works.
No, it's not to all Dave Filoni things. But to a guy who hates everything. All right, we're about to have a Max and Tim off. We got to finish this thing up because it's about to happen.
Yeah, no, Ahsoka is on my list after I finish.
After everything? After everything else?
I got Disney Plus to catch up on everything, and I plan on canceling it in a couple weeks, so I got to catch up.
Make sure you watch Bluey first.
Star Wars is fine. My number one is, I'm going to go through these really quick here. All my first watches for my half-off Criterion Blu-rays that I bought this year. Really quick, Irma Vep. It's about movie making and how much movie making is a pain in the ass, and then in the middle portion it becomes a Catwoman movie, which is kind of cool. After Hours from Scorsese, a nice brisk watch, and Soho is crazy. The Trial, based on a Kafka novel from Orson Welles, starring Anthony Perkins. It is stylish and crazy as hell. Night on Earth is like a cool anthology movie about taxi cab drivers all over the world. And it's the only time I've ever liked Roberto Benigni in anything. And my favorite thing I watched this whole year, Ikiru from Akira Kurosawa. This thing will tear your heart out, and I was a blubbering mess at the end of it, but I felt like so rejuvenated about life. Like, genuinely, it's this very like soulful, moving, personal story that's really quiet. No grand effects. It's all just about the human condition. So those were my favorite things overall from this year.
I wanted to see that.
Does the taxi thing have Reverend Jim in it?
No. Gina Rollins, Winona Ryder, Armin Mueller-Stahl.
Never mind. You don't get the reference. Okay, we're good. Moving on.
Yeah. Didn't get it at first. I was like just going through it.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much. We gave you a show that made it for 6
Mine was
weeks.
Last of Us.
Yeah, she was Last of Us.
Okay, cool.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, checking us out. Hit that like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. Kathleen,
follow
Tim,
3 Geeks
on the FSF PopCast. I was supposed to be on Monday's episode this week, but I got pushed to the following week. We're doing Suit Up Monday on their show. We're all going to wear suits. It's going to be fantastic. Check that out. Justin and I will be dropping shorts soon. Lots of interviews coming up. Check out the interview we did with Claudia Wells.
That was
Something
a weird
really
sentence.
cool happens during the interview that I absolutely adored. And everybody else out there, have a great day.
That was a taxi reference.
Dropping shorts. It was a taxi reference.
Dropping shorts.
That was a taxi reference.
All right, guys, have a good night.